Hey, everybody. I am here with, wow, I'm here. 2 minutes to spare. Johnny and I were working out some stuff, and we are back on the regular Facebook Live because we were having some technical difficulties. But hey, that's what being a professional is all about, right? You try stuff, you work it out, um, and there you go. So I'm just making sure I am live. Oh, I'm live on mine. That's fabulous. Johnny, I think we're in good shape. Um, what can I say to you? I'm so excited about today's Facebook Live. It's the final one in the series. It is called Count on Me, like 1, 2, 3, like the Bruno Mars song. And we're going to talk a lot about the world of professional coaching and the requirements to 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 be in the world and be counted on in this way and what it means when we're growing a business. So if you're here already, let me know in the comments so I can know that you're here. So I know that I'm not alone just talking in this very beautiful little bubble. So, say I'm here in the comments so Johnny and I know that you're here. And Johnny's here too. So he is going to help me manage the comments so that you get served in the best possible way. So we have just a couple seconds before we go live. So in a moment, we are going to start. Here we go. It is 12 noon. My name is Carolyn Freyer-Jones, and I am here to serve you, professional coaches. We've been doing these Facebook Lives. This is the fourth one in the series, and today it's all about count on me, right? What does that mean to be counted on as a professional coach? What does it mean to count on yourself as a professional, as a business owner? What does it take to do this profession, right? And to grow your business. So many coaches that I talk to talk about loving the coaching, right? They love coaching. They love serving people. They love getting to help people change their lives, right? And when we get into the conversation around um, their business, there's sort of this very specific kind of don't love that part as much. So, for those of you who don't know me and are new to coming to this Facebook Live, I have been a professional coach now for over 15 years. The CFJ Coaching Success School launched. We're heading into our 5th year this January. So, I have spent a good portion of my career serving coaches in growing their businesses. And I love that because I'm a fan of helping people in this profession learn how to do it well, learn how to grow their businesses in such a way that they can feel good about their lives, they can get their own financial needs met, and then do an incredible job serving other people. So today we want to see who's here. I'm not seeing anybody in the comments yet, which is unusual. So Johnny, let me know in our private chat if there's other people here. I'm not seeing them yet in the comments. That doesn't necessarily mean anything. Oh, there you are. Now I see everybody. We have people. Got it. I'm with you. Okay. So I'm going to slow it down. Hey, Cynthia. I see you, Michael, Melissa, Francine, Gareth, Farnaz, and Daniel Allen. Welcome to the final Facebook Live. Glad to have you. I know a couple of you have been at every single one, so bravo to you. Melissa, Daniel, I think you've been at every one. Count on me. So we're going to start to break down what being counted on really means in this business, right? So many of us are great at being counted on by clients, right? Client emails us, they need something, we're there for them. And when it comes to showing up in the connecting, in the inviting, in the slowing down and nurturing and building our community, not so much sometimes. Not so much a lot. I shared in a video that I sent out yesterday, I think it was yesterday, For many of us in this profession, and this may come as news and maybe it won't, for many of us in this profession, we're not really being counted on. We can't count on ourselves. That's what I'm seeing over and over and over again. So, what does that mean? I have a lot of coaches who I see who are like hot and cold, way hot and cold. Like, you show up for work, you put in like 3 days of nurturing and connecting and inviting, and then you're out. You're like out with your family, you're out doing other stuff, or maybe you're just overwhelmed. It's like, oh my gosh, that took a lot. And then you're gone. And then you're like, what is happening? Why is my business not getting to any kind of baseline income level, right? It's because you're not counting on I can't count on you. You can't count on you. This is everything, right? This is everything. It's like, as I shared in my video, Steve loves talking about the DMV and how we can count on the people at the DMV to be there when we go there to renew our driver's license, right? We can count on them. They are not at the beginning of the day being like, I do not feel worthy. I feel really like insecure. I don't know if I can serve these people who come in to get their driver's license renewed. I'm not doing it today, right? What would happen to those people? They would lose their jobs, right? So they don't think about whether or not they're good enough or worthy enough. The baristas at the coffee shop, right? They don't think about, like, their boss says, you're on tomorrow. I need you here from 10 to 6, right? They're not like, I don't know if the quality of my barista art is up to, like, will someone like it? Will they still want to drink it? They're not asking themselves that. Jason, you're here. Jason, I'm so glad you're here. So my barista, right? Look, now you may not like Starbucks. It's totally okay. I understand. There's one around the corner from me. That's why I go. This is iced coffee because it's like 300 degrees in Los Angeles. I love iced coffee with pumpkin cream foam, because someone's going to put it in the chat. They're going to be like, what are you drinking, Carolyn? Like, as if my drinks really matter. Iced coffee, pumpkin cream foam. They were not concerned about, would I like it enough? Did they do a good job? Right? So here I am, right with you now, drinking my iced coffee because I can count on those baristas. Can I count on you? So we're going to slow it down, and I'm going to open it up. Hey, Kirsten, glad you're here. I want you to put in the chat, right? We're going to do another scale because, I love scales. Like, in the last 2 weeks, let's make it a small unit of time. How much could you count on yourself to show up at your desk or wherever you do this to be like, I'm going to declare my space and serve some people today? I want to know, like, on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 is like, oh, I showed up, Carolyn. I was at my desk 4 days out of 5, and I looked through my emails and I found some people to serve, right? Or was it 4 days out of 5, or was it 2 days out of 5? Was it a couple of hours kind of here and there? Because, it was the week before Labor Day. Maybe you stopped working early, right? Maybe you're like, Wednesday, we're coming up on Labor Day weekend. I'm out. People are going to be out. So I'm looking at my chat to go, where are the ratings? 10 is like, I was on, Carolyn. I could count on myself. I said I would do this, and I did it. My audio matched my video. 1 is like, I said I was going to do stuff. I didn't really do any of it. Now, I want to make a distinction here. Some of you don't know the right actions to be taking, right? You're really new. You're still learning. Okay, you get a little bit of that. I hear you. So that's what you're here to do, right? You're learning what actions to be taking. Half and half. Claire Marie, I see 2. Michelle, 5. Tara Ann, 9. Nice. Kirsten, 7. Nice. Jason, 5. Okay. 7 for working on website. Okay. 4 on conversations. Charles, 7. Good job. Okay. Daniel Allen, 5, right? So these are not like referendums on who you are. Your number doesn't mean you're a good person. It doesn't mean you're a bad person. It's information, right? We need to know that we can count on ourselves to show up and get our butts in our seats and start to connect and serve, right? It's going to sound mean, and I don't mean it to sound mean. It doesn't matter if you feel clumsy. It doesn't matter if you feel awkward. That's what happens when we start to do this. Clumsy, awkward, green, strange, whatever word you would use to describe how you feel when you're doing this, the thing that every word has in common, I'm going to pause here for dramatic emphasis. What does it have in common? Every word that you could say to me about doing this. I see Mark, 5, Allison, 8. Let's see if anyone can put in the comments what the one thing is that all the words that you might use about how you feel that keeps you out of action. What's the one thing? What's the common theme? 5. Daniel, ding, 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 focused on me, right? Even if you're like, oh, I had so much other stuff to do, right? Uncomfortable, growth. It's like this business we don't succeed when we stay off the court. We just don't. It's like, it's not going to happen. There will not be clients. There will not be money in your bank account. None of those things will occur. Now, some of us have an opportunity to increase our muscle of counting on ourselves, right? Like for some of us, this could be the first time, the first place in our lives professionally where it's like, oh, I have to count on me. Nobody, remember the baristas, right? And the DMV, they have bosses who are saying, hey, where are you? What happened? You're late. We don't have bosses. We just have ourselves. So I want to acknowledge that, right? This is a different profession in that context. It's easy, I'll say, for the baristas and the DMV to be like, well, if I don't go in, someone is going to call me. They're going to come after me, right? So who do you need to be your own boss in this? Now, some of us may be like, I don't want to be a boss. Bosses are, they're mean and they're controlling and they don't understand. They don't understand what it's like. Time to update your beliefs around what a boss can be, right? It's like, if you're your own boss, who are you going to be? Sometimes it's so hard to not have anyone behind. Amrita, I get it. Totally, right? It's a big step for people to step into being their own boss and being an entrepreneur. I do not want to diminish that as a real thing. And we don't want to shy away from the reality of that, right? This work requires self-leadership, right? It requires self-initiation. So the sooner we can start to be like, all right, that's the muscle I'm missing. Oh my gosh, that's it. It's not that I'm not a good coach, and it's not that I'm not able to help people. It's that I'm missing a muscle called getting myself to do stuff without anybody looking over my shoulder. Okay, we can work with that. You can work with that. I keep coming back to the realization that once I start, this work is far easier for me in terms of execution than it ever was working for anyone else. Natasha, I completely hear you and agree. I had a beautiful job at the University of Santa Monica. I was there for 12 years. I was full-time. I was the head of admissions and marketing. I loved it. And when I left to pursue full-time coaching, I couldn't believe how happy I was. Yes, I had new things to navigate called, if I don't show up for work, nobody's going to tell me to show up. And I have to create clients. I have to make money so my family can pay the rent and do stuff, right? You know, I was not in a situation where my income didn't matter, right? Like my income mattered in my family. My husband works in the amazing world of television production, but he was not like, great, I'll handle everything. You go, just take your time. Nope. And that's not bad. Having some financial pressure, from my point of view, is actually really helpful. Not too much, right? Not to the point where it's like the person in front of me, I'm looking at like I'm a shark with big jaws, like I need you and I need your money right now. Not to that level. That's not helpful. But having some can be useful, right? Because when we have nothing, that's a different challenge for someone who has no financial, no compelling financial reason to earn an income, right? That's a different scenario, and I've worked with people in that scenario. It's different, but for most of us, and I think most of us who are here on this Facebook Live, your income matters, right? So the question becomes, what is stopping you from getting to a 10 every week? And I want you to put it in the chat, right? Like, what is stopping you from being able to count on yourself? And you want to slow it way down. What are you telling yourself every week? What happens when Monday comes? You have a fresh week, fresh new possibility. What goes on inside of you such that you don't hit 10 in counting on yourself? Now, I want to know, I don't really know what to do, Carolyn. Like, I know a little bit, but not a lot. Or is it, I know what to do and I'm just uncomfortable and I talk myself out of doing it? And there can be range in there. And there might be something else that I'm not saying that could be happening for you. So by all means, fill me in. Like, we want to use this today, right? I don't want to just be talking at you. I want to help you today with handling some of this stuff so that when we leave today, your muscle of counting on yourself has increased. Your awareness of what it's going to take to do this and to create a strong business. So let me see here. What if I succeed? Okay. What if I succeed at this? How am I going to handle the burden of that many people relying on me? Will I be able to handle scaling up and leveling up, or will I lose other parts of my life and become obsessed with work? Wow, Natasha. So I have a question for you. I just want to check, because maybe you have. Have you ever been obsessed with work before? Have you had that occur in your life? Because some people are workaholics. It's a real thing, so I don't want to diminish that. I'm going to respond to the other part of your statement while you're answering my question. How am I going to handle the burden of that many people relying on me? I love that as a thought to look at, right? How am I going to handle that? My experience with that is that our business doesn't grow fast, in the sense that I didn't go from 2 clients to 10 clients in a day. My own capacity to serve people, to have more people on my roster, and to know that I can handle it, right? I could handle the sessions, I could handle supporting them in between sessions, was a process, not an event. And it was so fun. So Natasha, one of the things I want to challenge you on is, like, to me, when I have a full roster, it can sometimes feel like a lot, but it's also some of the most fun stuff I get to do. I'm more alive when my roster is full and I know I'm serving, right? My capacity grows. And that's what's amazing about this profession. It's like anyone who's ever played a professional sport or music, right? Our lung capacity grows, right? When we're a flautist and we're improving, right? Our lung capacity grows. Johnny Roman, the director of the school, the executive director, who's an outstanding coach, is going to run a marathon in a few weeks. And maybe he'll put in the comments, right? His capacity, he's been in training. So he just did a 20-mile run. He did not have that capacity, 6 months ago, Johnny? He grew because he practiced bit by bit. He increased his mileage. So Natasha, I want to challenge you that like you can handle it. Your own capacity will grow. It's almost like that will be a great problem for you to have. So I'm gonna offer that to you, Natasha, and for all of you. Having like a full roster of like, oh my gosh, how am I gonna serve all these people? Whether it's you want 5 people on your roster or you want 10 or 12. Trust me, that's worth doing a coaching session with your coach about, right? That's worth going to the group you're getting coached in to go, oh my gosh, how do I do this? All right, so let's see what else. Claire Marie, competing priorities with your full-time job and your family issues. That's a real thing. So Claire Marie's in a different situation. She has a full-time job and she's growing her coaching business on the side. That takes a different muscle, right? Because it means, and Claire Marie, I think we've talked about this, and if not, we will be. You're going to want to have some dedicated time each week. And maybe it's only 2 nights a week. Maybe it's one afternoon on that day you don't work, where it's like, this is my creating my business time. Because you have to be more disciplined given you have a full-time job and family. So for those of you in that situation, that requires a different kind of focus and discipline. I think I did like 2 nights a week when I was working full-time, and I did some lunchtime sessions and like stuff. I would go out and do some work, right? But I had to. Like there wasn't options of when am I going to do this? And Claire Marie, I'll share with you what Steve Chandler said to me. He said, you need to drown out your day job. So you want to be like, what 2 afternoons and what lunchtime am I going to be like, that's my business creation time. And family, let them feed themselves, right? Like, it's like talk to them, have a conversation, be like, if I'm going to make this happen, it's only going to happen if I do these things. Can I count on you, family, to fill in while I go do this, right? It's like I've had to have those conversations when my daughter was little. I had to say, like, if I'm going to do this, it means you're going to be on with her. Are you okay with that? And he was like, yeah, bring it, right? So there's that. Michael, what if I make this huge investment and time into this business and realize later that I made the wrong choice? It could happen, Michael. I'm not going to. And I'm going to say to you, even if that did occur, if you were like, oh, I put investments in and now it's not what I want to do, my experience with the world of professional coaching is everything you learn in this business will serve in any profession. Michael, you will become a better leader. You will become a coach who can coach inside an organization or a job if you decide I'm not going to be my own boss anymore. Anything you learn here, I feel like will serve you in. I mean, we have people who come, Steve had people come to his school all the time, at least one every session, who was like in corporate, not planning on growing their own business. And they used everything they learned inside their organization. So I would offer to you that even if it did turn out, and I have questions if that's really true, but even if you decided bad choice, not for me, everything you learn is evergreen and can be applied. You'll become stronger in your own personal life as a result. So you can see how that lands for you. The reps daily, detaching from loaded gives and serving wholeheartedly. I hear you, Jason. To me, that's a really important one, right? Like, how do I serve and grow my community without attachment to money coming now, right? Without money coming now. Now, Jason, I know you're also in a full-time job. So you have a little room, not a lot, I know that, but a little room to be like, I can handle some lag time between serving and money showing up in my bank account from this profession. And I want to offer to you that if that was a muscle you were willing to grow, like serving without attachment and really bumping that up without anything like, I'm not looking for money in this profession for the first 3 months. I'm going to do 3 months without any thoughts of making any money. I'm just going to serve. Might be an interesting experiment for you, for your consideration. You can tell me if you could do 2 months, like no offers, no financial conversations. Obsessed with work. It's a real vulnerability to manage. So Allison, I hear you. I have a question for you, Allison, because I don't want to diminish that, right? Tell me, when you say obsessed, what does that look like? Like, are you already at a level in your practice where you're like, I'm really overdoing it at this point? Or are you in the, no, 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 I haven't really created a strong baseline yet of clients? I'd like to know more. Resistance to contacting the folks who are left on my list. Cynthia. Oh my gosh, do I hear you? And I hear what you're saying. So I wonder for you if there's a bigger opportunity to expand your list, right? Like you got to grow that community. You need new blood is what I'm saying. And that is a question where you need to go, how am I going to expand that so that I'm not feeling like I have this much left, right? And you might play a game of like, I'm going to look through my last 100 emails I received. And who did I poo poo? Who did I go, oh, nah, not them. So I'm going to challenge you on that. Natasha, I've never been obsessed with work. I've been on the other end of things where there was never really high stakes for earning. And now there are, both in my caring about coaching and my need to earn is so much greater. So Natasha, I want you to know, like, you can relate to that as good news, that this is a profession you're so excited about and you so want to make a difference in, right? And this is a profession that requires self-mastery. So I'm going to repeat that. This is a profession that requires self-mastery. We cannot, like, people, like, I don't want to hire a coach who can't count on themselves, right? Like, I don't want that to be my dark secret. Like, I got one client, but I can't really count on myself enough to do the work to create another client. So I'm not like, we want to be able to count on ourselves. We cannot take people into territory that we ourselves have never gone. So I can't coach someone into becoming more countable on if I don't know how to do that, right? If I've never figured out any kind of self-discipline whatsoever, and Jason, I know you have self-discipline, so I know what's possible for you. Jason is an amazing fitness coach based in New York City. So he helps people transform their relationship to fitness and to nutrition. And he also does straight up life coaching with that. So I know what Jason's capable of because he's done it with himself, along with many other things that required significant self-discipline. Now, if we don't have one place to look at in our lives where self-discipline is present, right? Because most of us do, right? Whether it's, oh, I show up and work out. I do that consistently. Or, oh, I floss, right? Let's get down to like, do you brush your teeth consistently? If you brush your teeth consistently, you have a place in your life where self-discipline is present. So consider that, right? It's like, oh, I do that. Do I worry that like, I might not brush my teeth? Like, do I go, what if this all falls away and I can't keep it up? How many of us do that? We don't, right? We can count on ourselves to brush our teeth. So consider that, like what you can take over there and apply over here. And I just wrote to someone on this. Kirsten, I'm saying no to friends and stuff I don't really care about. Good for you. I've let go of teaching more yoga classes and hustling for every dime so I can focus on on a coach. I'm ready to see, let's see, I'm moving too fast. I apologize, everybody. Just don't know how. I am attempting 5 conversations a week. This morning, a past client reached out to see if he could get on a maintenance plan. I'm telling the universe I'm present and focused on serving clients. Let's give her like a big shout out. Let's give a big shout out to Kirsten. So she is upping her game of commitment, of dedication, of focus, right? And I know because Kirsten and I have talked, she's going to be in the next school. Kirsten wants more wants more income in her life. It's not like she's sitting there doing nothing. She wants more money. So she is willing to turn away from what she doesn't want to create more of what she does want, right? So I want you to know, Kirsten, you're taking all the right steps. It's like starting to invite, slowing down with people, not rushing, right? If everyone who's here could be like, I'm going to get one more conversation on my calendar, just one more. And then when you got that one, you said, I'm going to get another one. I'm going to send an invite. I'm going to connect. I'm going to nurture someone. I'm going to send someone a resource without any attachment to whether they want to do anything further. I can promise you this is a baby step process, one conversation at a time, one slowed down conversation, right? Francine, I have people interested in working with me, but it doesn't go to that next step where they say yes. Feel I don't know what to do. So the question, Francine, that comes up for me, if someone says to me they're interested in working with me, interested is it's not a weird word, it's a funny word, because interested is very different than committed, right? Steve Chandler does a whole thing on interested versus committed. When someone says they're interested in working with me, I'm like, maybe they're just being polite. Maybe they just think it's a nice way to get me out of their email inbox. I want to test that. Like, I might be like, wow, tell me a little bit more. Tell me what's making you so interested in this. What do you imagine would occur if we did something together? Like, what do you imagine would happen if you hired a coach? So, Francine, I want to invite you to slow it down when someone says that, to not jump into, here's what it would look like. I want someone to tell me, what do you mean by interested, right? It's a way to slow the conversation down. It's a way to kind of gauge, and it's okay. We're polite because we say stuff we think people want us to hear. It's also a way to get out of a conversation. I'm really interested. Let me think about it and I'll get back to you. So you can let me know if that's helpful. Linda, I know I need to get a side hustle for a time. What would be a good plan to keep a starting business going? Linda, do you mean to keep the coaching business going? I would set aside, like, if you have a workout that you do every week, I would make sure that your business gets a slot on your calendar too, right? So if you make time for other things, right? Like if some of us have children, I don't really question whether or not I'm going to feed my daughter, right? I don't go, do I feel like it today? Do I think she's worthy of food today? Maybe, maybe not. So if I can make sure my kid gets fed, I can make sure that 30 minutes shows up in my business. If I feed my kid 5 days a week, can I show up 5 days a week for 20 to 30 minutes in my business, right? Look for the places in your life where you show up consistently and go, if I can do that over there, can I create a baby step where I do it over here, right? That's because that's what it takes, right? Like, it's like showing up and tolerating all the discomfort. Like, a big piece of all of this is learning to tolerate all the messiness and all the awkwardness. So Johnny, not even 3 months ago. So I was so wrong. Go Johnny. We haven't talked about this, but this is gold. I'm wondering why I haven't blocked my calendar before. Yeah, Claire Marie. Alicia, don't get emotionally attached to the outcome. Once I get focused on a goal, I get really obsessed and have a hard time stopping. My new strategy of this decade of life is to keep my goals as small as possible. I think that's great, Allison. I mean, I love, on the one hand, that you get obsessed with a goal, because that, by the way, speaks to you being able to create potentially a strong coaching practice. When I think about the other faculty at the school, when I think about Devin Bandison, when I think about Tarita Preston, when I think about Amber Chris, right? So Amber and Tarita, I really watched come up, right? Devin and I met when he already had some stuff going on. But Amber was a coach that I coached, right, with Michelle. She did the University of Santa Monica Soul-Centered Professional Coaching Program. Tarita Preston came to my school after she did Steve's ACS. And what I saw them do, Allison, is in their own way, they were obsessed. Not in a way that they didn't take care of themselves or the rest of their lives fell apart, but they were obsessed with learning this business and getting out there and making a difference. They were obsessed with it. They were willing to tolerate, I feel so awkward, but I'm going to call this person because Like they just were willing to get messy. So obsessed has value if used appropriately. Okay? If used appropriately. Um, how do I approach my long list and emails from all the other chapters of my life? How do I catch them up and let them know I'm taking private clients? Kirsten, what a great question. We all want your list, right? You have a list. That's amazing. Um, you want to go really slow and gentle and go, okay, I'm going to take these 20 this week. And I'm going to look at each person and I'm going to be like, okay, so this person, I'm going to write a really thoughtful reconnect. Like, oh my gosh, it's been so long since I saw you from prior X profession. How is your life? What are you up to? I would love to hear. You have been on my mind. You may not know this, but I have been a professional coach now for over a year. And I love it. I love getting to serve people. It's so different than what I was doing before. But tell me about you. What are you up to? How is that thing that we used to talk about? So, Kirsten, you want to take them one at a time, take 20 a week, go slow, and really think about each person, because each person, that's gold. We don't want to think in quantities. We want to think in quality. One person is gold. So let me know if that's helpful. Oh, Devin Bandison's here. What's up, Devin Bandison? I don't know if he's still here. Individual emails. Yeah, Kirsten, you want to do individual emails, not group, right? I mean, you could do a big mass one, but individual is where it's at. Personal is where it's at, right? It's intimate, it's connecting. It shows the person that you remember them, that they matter to you, right? That's where it's at. Nobody, like, this is where this approach to growing a business is very different than what you might hear in other methods, let's call them that, where it's like more is better, bunches of people, we need bunches of people. We really don't need bunches of people, right? I remember once Steve, I don't know, I got all up in my ego. I don't know what I saw happening out in some other coach's land, but I was like, how come I don't have that? This was, I don't know, maybe 5-10 years ago. I don't have those many people. And he was like, did I forget that what you really want is to have a good living that serves your family and make a difference in people's lives? Do you really need that many people? And I was like, all right, I guess I don't. So we don't need huge communities, just so you know. We don't. So anybody who's out there like, but Carolyn, I don't have a huge community. I mean, honestly, if you were to look at my community, it's not huge comparatively to some people, right? I don't have hundreds of thousands. There's not hundreds of thousands of people here on this Facebook Live. It's fine. I don't need hundreds of thousands, right? We can start small. So I'm going to give you a story, right? So here's Michelle Bauman and I, my beloved friend and business partner. For those of you who might not know, who are newer to this, to me, Michelle passed away in 2015. And when we started, Michelle was like, I want to do these groups for women. I want to do these groups for women. Would you do them with me? And I thought, well, I'll try one with you. I liked her a lot. We hung out at the gym together. I thought, well, this could, I don't know if she can do this. I remember saying to Steve, I really like her. I think she was a lawyer, tons of enthusiasm. And I couldn't enroll at all. I was full-time at the University of Santa Monica. I was really clear, like, I can't do that and do this. It wasn't an integrity for me. And she said, I'll do it. I'll get some people in there. That's a pretty big deal, right? To be like, I'll make the first group happen. And she did. We wanted 10 women. We kept the fee super low. It was $500 a person, right? For a 3-month coaching group, $500. Now that was great because neither of us were like, oh my God, I need this money so badly. It was like we needed it, but we didn't need it. We were both still full-time, $500. And we started tiny. We got 10 women. We ran the group. And then we were like, we're going to do another one. And Michelle was really the person who went out into her world of her kids' parents' lives, lawyers. We had a lot of lawyers come into our first complimentary events, right? All of that. Tiny, small. The first complimentary event we did, which was live at her house, 20 people, maybe. That's how it started. Didn't start with a lot, okay? Eventually, we got to the point where 50 plus women would be in her family room. 50 plus. That was a big room and a lot of women. I'll tell you a funny story. One of the complimentary events we did was right around this time of year. And it was this weather. It was like over 100 degrees in Los Angeles. Michelle lived in the Valley, which is a much warmer area of Los Angeles, like a lot warmer, about 20 minutes from where I live. The air conditioning broke in her family room. Broke. Nobody left. We had women sweating in the room with us, right? One of my favorite people and coaches, Veronica Allweiss, was assisting at our event. Fabulous coach, fabulous person. They were like giving out ice water to people. People were like putting ice, and they stayed. Why did they stay? Because we were like, you're going to get value. Going home in your air conditioning is not going to serve you as much staying here. And we laughed a lot about it, right? So if you can be like, I can create something that will deliver value, and I can connect with people one-on-one, and I can start serving people and having meaningful conversations one at a time. This is possible. It's possible. So Alex Dumas, late to the party, but you're here. Bravo. All right. So I heard another statement, or I saw one earlier that makes you not as countable on. And I saw the word distraction. So put in the comments, people, is distraction something that you are faced with, right? Like you're like, oh, I want to do some inviting and I want to do these things, but I get distracted by the news, social media. I don't know. Your kid needs a new lunchbox for school, right? Laundry. Like let's name the distraction, because we want to name it and we want to look at it. Lorraine, I sometimes feel it's tricky to concentrate on one person at a time slowly and at the same time pursue our goals that we set for ourselves. When I focus on one or two people in small communities, attachment comes back against my will, working on the goal line and the soul line. All right. So Lorraine, I'm going to respond to that as we hear from people about their distractions. I appreciate that, right? Tricky to concentrate on one person at a time. So here's the thing. Goals are wonderful. Like, it's great that you have goals. And so what I'm hearing is that, like, the goal kind of distracts you from the person in front of you, right? So part of this is the question of what's the goal? Like, what kind of goal have you set for yourself? Because if our goals distract us, right? If they're like, I can't just talk to this one person in this one community. I have a big goal. Then the goal's not working for us. It's working against us. So sometimes when someone's in that situation, Lorraine, and you have a fantastic coach, I don't know you well enough, but sometimes it might be like, let's change the goal up. Let's soften it, because we don't want goals. Goals are wonderful unless we're weaponizing them, right? So Veronica Allweiss and we worked together at the University of Santa Monica. Veronica, today's your day. I don't know why, but you're getting a big shout out. I was the head of admissions. Veronica was the assistant director of admissions. Now, we had a goal of filling the master's degree in spiritual psychology program with 255 students every year. 255. That's what we were enrolling. That's a big number once a year, right? Amber Chris would laugh. She's like, I can't believe you had to work with that number. And we could only do it one person at a time. And Veronica loves sports. She loves baseball. So for her, it was really like she used that love of competition and sports in service to her. So the number didn't get to her. She wanted to use it. And Veronica was all about soul line, Lorraine. So, but if you're not built that way, right? Like where it's like, might be put the goal aside and just focus on one or two people this month or this week. And that might be something to consider, because not everyone relates to goals. Chandler will be the first person of, let's drop the goal, because you're weaponizing it. So give that a little thought. Distracted, had a fun experience if distraction via avoidance slowed it down and made the game. Self-care, dating has become a big distraction. I have trouble balancing building a business, building my personal life, and working my normal job. I find myself getting distracted for a lot longer than I realize with dating. So first of all, Michael, I mean, bravo to you, right? Like you're wanting to create a meaningful relationship, and that's important, right? That creates deeper fulfillment in our lives, and we don't want to poo-poo that, right? So then the question becomes like, because you have a job, and I know you do, like, how do you have different lanes, right? Some of this sounds like I need to get better at switching lanes, right? To go, okay, I spent a good amount of my focus tonight on my cultivating dating. Am I willing to give equal time to my coaching business, right? Sometimes I'll do that. I'll be like, look, if I'm going to spend 20 minutes on, I don't know, whatever I like to do, looking at Uber Eats for what I want to eat when I'm ordering for myself alone, I'll be like, Carolyn, you got to give 20 minutes to responding to these emails, right? Sometimes that's a game that can be helpful. And Cynthia, I hear you on the self-care, the same thing. If I'm willing to spend this much time in meal prep, can I then tomorrow go, I'm going to give this much time to my business development, right? It's like, can we start to create lanes and go, what lane is there a deficit in? And put that kind of time into that lane, right? We want to start to go, is our business getting quality time from us? Is our business getting quality time from us? Friends, going out to dinner, taking other courses, looking at places to travel. Okay, so Kirsten, I feel you. So some of this has to be like, I need to put the business time in front of that. I'm all for a good like internet black hole. I love looking at places to travel. But I will be like, Carolyn, you don't get to look at anything until you put in 20 minutes. So I really like, I'll create a reward. Like you get to go look at various countries for a good 30 minutes. But first, timer set 30 minutes of responding to all you beautiful people, right? It's like, I'm willing to slow myself down and go, no, not that, this, right? So I challenge you on that. What if the goal was to have one amazing conversation at a time, enjoying it fully as your creative contribution of the day? That's fantastic, Amrita. See, that's why, Lorraine, she's your coach, right? One beautiful conversation a day equals 5 conversations a week. That's not a small thing. A lot of dating distraction, people. I'm happy for you, but like, let's talk about like, can we put in equal time in the growth of our business? Will we be a better partner when we have a strong business that we can talk about, right? Will I be a better spouse, mate, when I'm like, yes, I can treat tonight for this meal because my business is doing really well? Really start to think about like, what am I doing this for? What is this for? Is this to create a better life for myself, right? If it's to create a better life for yourself, doing work you love, it's like, can you pull that forward and pull that out of you and go, yeah, that's more important to me than these distractions. That's more important. All right, good point. I like the idea. Yeah, you got to shift lanes, right? Shifting lanes. Otherwise, we're not going to be able to do this. See, that's the distinction I'm going to make, is that if we don't turn the corner into consciously shifting lanes, it won't occur, right? We can't get this off the ground. It's like we need liftoff. and lift off. It's like when we get to a baseline in our business, we have more room, right? Johnny has more flexibility now to be a marathon runner, to be like playing with different things in his life because he did all the work to get his practice to a certain baseline. And Johnny, it's up to you. You can share in the chat if you want about what that looked like for you, right? So we live in a world now where distractions are like, it's everywhere. It's much harder. And as Steve will talk about, he likes to talk about it in the context of we have a lot more things pulling at us. He and I talked about this the other day where he was like, Carolyn, there used to be like 6 channels on TV. Nobody was really turning on the TV during the day. There wasn't a whole lot to watch, right? Now you have Netflix, you have Hulu, you have Disney, you have, social media where there like our own like what is it called? Dopamine meter. Our own like brains get like, ooh, I haven't been entertained in 15 minutes. Ding, 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 right? So we're all, and this is gonna, to me, this is such an important life muscle, right? That I go, I will not, Netflix is not my master. I'm my master, right? Hulu, the news, fun clothing, right? Oh, I want to go look at Anthropologie and see what new jackets they have. No, 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 Carolyn, we're not going to get a dopamine hit from Anthropologie right now. We're going to serve someone. We're going to serve for 20 minutes. It's like, this is what it's going to take for us to be able to count on ourselves, right? It's like, I'm going to read what Johnny wrote because I'm sure it's really good. I had to show up for myself in my business in a much different way. Create focus time, less distraction, less buying into my fear, a lot more serving and getting on the court. Thank you, Johnny. So a lot more believing in my ability to serve and believing that I can help someone. And that's more valuable than buying into my fear. Johnny is one of my favorite stories to talk about because you've heard me share on the Facebook Live. Johnny was in the school. So he did the school 2 years in a row. And Johnny, boy, was he committed for a while to his story of not being worthy, not being good enough. I mean, I can joke with him a lot now. He might not have thought it was as funny when he was in the school, but it was like, wah, 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 wah. Like there was a lot, right? And Johnny at some point made a decision called no more, no more. That narrative and giving so much energy to that narrative is not getting me what I want. It's not. So I'm going to like pull my boots on and be like, no, I'm not feeding that narrative anymore. It doesn't matter. It doesn't get me what I want. And, oh my God. So I did call you the Johnny Want show. Clearly I wasn't that concerned about, like, that's what it is, right? The coaches who've done the school, right? They know as I get to know you, I'm not like, Devin Bandison is a great example of someone who like will say to people, I love you enough and I care about you enough to not sugarcoat, right? So when people are in my school, I don't sugarcoat. I'm like, hey, what's this getting you? Because this is not getting you what you say you want in the world of professional coaching. I love when I'm going to send out soon on my email list. There's a coach, I don't know if she's here, Mary Turner, who's coming to the school, right? So she comes from the world of nursing. And to me, nursing is like one of the most important and undervalued professions in the world because I've been like my family and Michelle was like I watched what good nursing and good care and good service looked like. And to me, the idea of someone going from nursing to coaching is an incredible thing because they already know the context of service. They already know the context of being with people in difficult experiences in life, right? In a big way. And what I want to say is that when we know what it looks like to put in a full day at a prior job, and many of you do, right? Michael, Claire Marie, Daniel Allen, right? Those of you, Cynthia, you know, because you've done it in former jobs, right? Or doing it right now. Jason, it's like you're so much closer than you imagine, right? To be like, okay, how do I take that and put it over here in this lane that I so want to create, right? That I so want to create. You want to pull from those other places and go, yeah, that job I didn't even really care that much about, or it wasn't as meaningful to me. You want to be like, I have to apply some of that over here and be like, all right, I know, I remember, my body remembers what it was like to put in a full day there. Time to create that over here in this lane, in this lane. So I want to see if we have more questions around counting on yourself. Like, is this helpful to be here talking about this? Does this help you to go, I can do this. I can take these other reference points and bring them over here. And I'm going to say something while you all answer me. We talked earlier about like, oh, in this profession, there's no boss, right? And Rita was like, boy, wow, having a boss made a difference. That's what having a coach is for, or being in a group for coaches or a school, right? Like, I don't know, Johnny will respond. I'm guessing Johnny might say he might not have turned the corner if he didn't have someone like me going, what are you doing? Like, this is not useful, right? I would not be in front of you if I didn't have a coach who was like, Carolyn, how much time today did you spend connecting with people? Michelle and I, this is another thing you can do if you are up for it. So when Michelle and I were like, we each need a couple clients, right? Maybe 2 clients, excuse me. Steve would say to us, do what he called a captain's log, where you track, and you can do it for 2 weeks. You can track how much time did I spend creating conversations, nurturing someone, sending resources, inviting. Like, we don't want it just inviting, because inviting can be too rushed and too soon. But like Kirsten, with your list, you can start the timer at like, okay, I'm going to start looking at these people one by one. I'm going to connect. I'm going to send them something. I'm going to say hello. And the moment you finish, like you did 5, and then you clock out and go get a glass of water, the timer stops. So you want to start being much more conscious of your time in every day. It's fine if it only is 20 minutes one day. I mean, that won't get you the business you want, but you need to know, how much time am I putting in every day, right? If you have a day you know you're not going to put in any time, what's it going to be the next day, right? We need to see what we're doing, eyes wide open. No like, la la, I think I put in an hour. And I'll share being in the school, being held to a higher standard, having my unhelpful way of being shown to me on a consistent basis, and having a direction to move and a vision was a game changer. Johnny has become, by the way, one of the more disciplined people I know. I mean, you don't train for a marathon without discipline, right? So look what occurred for him. It's like, my experience of Johnny is so much in his life changed as he got more disciplined in his business, as he was like, sorry, noisy, insecure self that's not telling me the truth. You don't get to be front and center with me. Not going to happen. Everything in his life has transformed as he's become more disciplined. Jason, I'm Johnny. All right. So Jason, you need to connect with Johnny. That seems really important, because I think Johnny could really help you. So Johnny and I will talk about that. I can't wait to experience that. So I'll give you an example of conscious knowing. So my daughter recently went to the mall, and she has her own money. She earns money babysitting, and she bought some things. And I picked her up, and she and her friend were in the back seat, and they were talking about what they had bought. And Lucinda said, I bought more. After we dropped her friend off, I said, do you know how much you spent? And she said, I think I spent this much. And she gave me the amount. And I said, are you sure? Because you don't sound that sure. Now, look, she's 14. It's not like she should already. Some kids are built that way. And she was like, well, I think it was around this. And I was like, so listen, I think there's value in you knowing how much you spent, not because it's good or bad or you shouldn't have spent that much, but knowing makes a difference, right? So in the back, I could hear her kind of looking at receipts, and then she told me the number. It was a good amount higher than the original estimate. And I was like, okay. And it got quiet in the back. And I thought, all right, this is landing, right? And then later that night, she was like, I spent too much. I said, well, what's making you say that? She goes, I just did. I go, okay, that's fine to know that. There's nothing wrong. It's how we learn, right? Okay, I spent too much. Maybe I shouldn't have bought that. Maybe I didn't need that. Good learning. You want to know how much time you're putting in every day, people. It's good to see, even if it's uncomfortable, like, oh man, I only put in 15 minutes today. I only put in 15 minutes 3 times this week. That doesn't create a strong business. It just doesn't. I don't want to end on a down note. We're at 12:58. We have about 15 more minutes, but this, please, let me know, like, is this helpful? Like, are you willing? And you can say it in the know the numbers. We've already established that I can be obsessive about work, so this will come as no surprise. I use an app called Time Camp to track my time. But this is the surprising. Having to press play on how I was spending my time helped me with my worthiness issues. I love that, Allison. So people who know that, Time Camp, right? You can totally get an app now that shows you this. I think wake-up calls around how much time we're spending in our business are some of the most valuable practices we can do. It's like dumping cold water on our heads, right? It's like shocking. It's maybe it's even invigorating, but boy, you don't forget it, right? So how many of you are willing to take that on to go, okay, for 2 weeks, I'm going to track. I'm going to get Time Camp, or I'm going to do it another way where I'm going to go, what am I putting in each week? And then we're going to talk for the last 15 minutes on, like, I want to say this because I think it's really important. So we're talking about this because counting on ourselves so that others can count on us is such a part of this business, right? Like, I want others to know they can count on me. That will only occur to the degree I know inside that I can count on myself, right? That I have evidence, that I have a track record of counting on myself in dark times, in challenging times, in good times, right? That I'm going to show up for myself no matter what. And what I want to say to you is, it's like, what occurs when we start to know that we can count on ourselves? Daniel, great. Willing to track. Melissa, it feels good. So it feels good when we know we can count on ourselves. Alex, I'm going to answer your question. With that time, are we referring to actual coaching, connecting time spent with someone else? That can be on there, but it's also time like creating an email to send to someone, connecting with someone over Facebook Messenger or over email, right? It's like, am I doing things that nurture people? Even people who might have said no to us 6 months ago. Am I looking at those names and going, I'm going to send that person a book or an audio or a video that I love, right? Like, that counts as time. So we want to look at all those categories. I'm actually coaching. I'm actually in a conversation. I'm creating an email to send to someone. That counts. It's all activities that lead to potentially building relationships, creating clients, right? Now, I may have a conversation where it's not even appropriate for me to make an offer. It's a first conversation. It's a gifted conversation. But that time counts, because at the end of that conversation, if they were like, oh, this was so helpful, I want to do this again, I'd be like, well, listen, I see there's more to do here. I'm willing to put more time on the calendar. Is that something you'd like to do? And they go, yeah, I would. Okay, great. Get out your calendar. Let's do that. That counts. And now I'm putting another conversation on the calendar. That counts too, right? How to stay consistent knowing the time lag. Gareth, is that a question? How to stay consistent knowing the time lag between service and money? That's where the real muscles are built, right? It's like, I was so committed to this business. I was so excited about it, right? I was willing to put the time in. I was willing to have my regular job be my primary source of income while the lag time was occurring, right? if our entire focus is on money, that won't serve in this profession. It just won't, right? Like, it's not that we don't want to make money. We do. We're not here. This is not a volunteer role, right? However, I need to put aside my own need for money while I'm in service. Otherwise, it all leaks out. So, Gareth, it's really important that your mind is right. Like, hey, there could be a 3 month lag between service and money. And can I handle that in my life? Could be. It might not be. It could be 2 months. But am I willing to like be in service knowing there's a lag time and being like, okay, I have enough money for 3 months where I don't have to make every conversation the end all be all of my financial life, right? That's really important to look at. On the field, Alex. Nice work. What are your thoughts on an email template, but then making them more personal each time? That's totally okay, Kirsten. It's like there are sections of your email that might be the same, but then you're going to personalize it, right? It's really important that you personalize it, that you slow down on each one and go, what's the last thing I remember about this person? Oh my gosh, I remembered their daughter was going off to college. I'm going to be like, how would you do with the send off, right? With going off, sending your daughter off to college. That's really important that you slow down. And remember, it's all about them. It's all about our curiosity, our interest in them, wild curiosity, wild interest. Listening to you, I feel I can value all those nurturing activities that I spend a lot of time on and trust that it's a long-term thing and just stay on the path. It really is. It's like Johnny and I both, just so you know, we have another thing to give you. I'm super excited about it because this is something from the entire faculty. So if you want it, private message Johnny or myself, or you're going to email us. And we're going to send it to you. And I want to talk about this, right? Because we're living at this really, from my point of view, unusual time on the planet, right? It's an uncertain time beyond even the pandemic, beyond all sorts of things. Economically, for many people, it feels uncertain. If you're in the United States, politically, it can feel wildly uncertain. Climate change, I mean, women's rights, everywhere we look, there is uncertainty, not just in the United States, around the world, right? So then we ask ourselves, like, what does that mean for us, for me as a professional coach in this business? So I asked each faculty member to respond to that, right? What does this profession mean in uncertain times, right? How do we show up? What really matters? So each faculty member responded to that. And it's beautiful. I also responded to it. Our newest faculty member, the GOAT of corporate coaching, Sandy Sullivan, responded to it, along with Steve, along with Devin, along with Tarita, along with Amber. So it's something that if you want it, you can ask for it, but it's not something you want to just go, okay, yeah, that was good, Carolyn, whatever. You want to be like, no, this is going to be what I use to help keep me in my lane, the lane of creating my business, the lane of why this matters to me, right? Because that's what's going to happen, right? It's like staying on the court in uncertain times is going to build a muscle that you can't even imagine when things feel more steady. So I was saying earlier, like being able to count on yourself in life and in work helps us feel good, right? I feel better as a human being on the planet because I know I can count on myself. Not only do I know I can count on myself, then I know I can be there for others, right? So I'm less concerned about my capacity. I'm less concerned about my abilities because I've already been there for myself. It's known territory. So the opportunity to feel good about yourself, to know that you can count on yourself, has a huge ripple effect wherever you go. Has a huge ripple effect no matter what comes at you in your life. And it is such a source of steadiness and comfort for the people you serve, right? So I have a client, an amazing client, who just recently lost both of her parents in a very short amount of time. Like mine was a year and 2 days, hers was days. That is not a small thing to walk through. And she knew that she could count on me to be there for her. She knew I knew the territory. She knew I knew how to walk that path and how to be there for myself, right? So she trusted me that I would show up for her. She didn't question, like, oh God, can Carolyn handle this, right? So part of the reason you're building this muscle is so that when your practice is strong and when your income is not something you're quite as focused on, that you're like, I can be there for people in uncertain times. I can be there for myself in uncertain times, right? I can handle whatever life brings me. I have the inner resources. I know how to ask for assistance. That's all really important in life. So I offer that to all of us so that you get, there's additional value to learning how to do this that will literally impact every area of your life and your business. So I want you to know that, like, this is something like for you, Michael, when you're like, but what if I'm wrong and this business isn't for me? Building these muscles will change you as a person. It will change you as a partner for whoever you end up spending more time with in your dating life. It will change you as a fellow colleague if you get a job in-house. It's like leaders want to know that they can count on us. If I'm coaching a leader, that leader wants to know they can count on me, right? So consider the context in which you take this on, that it's much bigger than, Carolyn, I need some money. It's way bigger. The opportunities are much greater, and the game, it becomes a different game. So I think it was Lorraine who said, this is just stay on the path, right? It's like, this is a long path. This is not a couple months. It took Johnny, he'd probably say, look, Johnny, you can post in the comments, like, to where you are now, how many years in are you, where you're now, you know, you can count on yourself to show up in your business. You're not in the narrative of I'm not worthy or I can't do this. It's like, how long did it take, right? So that we all know, like, for some of us, that's going to be a journey. It's not going to be 3 months. Some of us will do that work and show up and make the investments and be there in a year. And some of us, it's going to take 3 to 5 years. I wanted this enough that it didn't matter to me. Is that where you are? And it's okay if you're like, I don't know yet. That's all right. But know that if you don't know yet, if you're still like, is this what I want to do? It's going to probably show up in your time in. Meaning, you might not dedicate as much time to it. So I offer that. For those of you who said you want the gift, you got to email us or you got to private message us, not just in the comments, right? So we want to hear from you personally because that's part of the game, right? Like, I want to know, like, does someone want it enough to send me an email, right? Does someone want it enough to private message Johnny or myself? It's been a process. So here's Johnny's answer. The journey has been 5-ish years. I'd say the past 2 to 3 years is when things really shifted. So obviously I'm using Johnny a lot here, not only because he's the fabulous director of the school, but because I think his story is a common one, right? You know, occasionally you get a Devin Bandison who like turns things around quickly, right? In a year, right? But, you know, whatever. Devin's not all that. I apologize. This is real life. My dog. Devin's not all that. Like, he's great. He made it happen quickly, but not everyone has that experience. So, you know, for those of us that are like, oh, look at Devin, it's like, yes, and Devin has stayed in the game a long time. He's done a lot of inner work to create depth, to create consistency. And Devin was a basketball player, right? He knew its reps. He was like, I am taking this game on. I am taking the game on of coaching like nothing else matters, right? So he had the experience of being an athlete that he transferred over to coaching like that. He just was like, I'm doing that. And he did it. So that really helps, right? Some of us don't have that as a reference point. Like, I mean, I played basketball in college. I know that's amusing to many of you. I'm 5 feet tall. My college was not Division III, right? I was a point guard. I'd never played basketball before, if that gives you any indicator of the quality of basketball at Emerson College. However, some of that is where consistency got birthed for me, right? I was like, I'm going to learn this. I'm going to show up. It's like I am not the fastest in any physical sporting event. I am not the strongest in any physical sporting event. But I'll tell you this, I will win at consistency every time. Every time. When I was big time into CrossFit, now I do a modified version. There were people that came and left the CrossFit gym. I was there for over 10 years, right? So my consistency muscle, I could transfer over here. So if I can leave you with anything in our final 2 minutes, it's like, make this muscle of consistency and learning to count on yourself and growing your business really important. Everything gets easier when we get this muscle built. And Jason, you know that from your world of fitness, right? It's like, it's a process. It's not an event. It's not glamorous building the consistency muscle. It's not. Julie, Devin Bandison has a willingness to connect with everyone, right? So he's consistent in his willingness. Whatever stories Devin Bandison had running, they did not stop him from connecting and serving at the same stage of the business that many of you are in. So in that regard, all of us can be Devin Bandisons. All of us can be Carolyn Freyer-Jones or Johnny Roman. It's like I saw a piece with Serena Williams where she said, if I could do it, you could do it, right? All she did was show up consistently, and she had a dad and a coach, right? So create that for yourself, right? Be like, we're not going to do it without support. I've never seen a coach do it really successfully without getting coached, without being in a group or a school. Like, get into something where someone's going to go, what is going on over there? In the most loving, humorous, challenging way that serves you personally. Some of you already have that. I acknowledge you for that. So email us or DM us, me or Johnny, either one works. And I announced this in an email yesterday. All the faculty, we're all gathering. We're going to be doing a Zoom webinar November 3rd at 1 p.m. Pacific. That one you're going to have to get registered for. So if you're not on my email list, right, you want to get on that, because the registration link is going to come through email, where you want to get on that list to be there. That's going to be a big webinar. That's where you're going to have time with Steve Chandler, Amber Chris, Devin Bandison, Tarita Preston, Sandy Sullivan, and myself. November 3rd at 1 p.m. Stay tuned for that. If you're not on our email list, DM Johnny or me and say, put me on your email list. And no matter what, bravo to you for being here today. I acknowledge all of you for being in this game, for making today important. Now go track your time, go get in the lane, and I'll see you soon. Take care.